Welcome to my YouTube channel where I simplify the web. In this video, I'll be simplifying the difference between the double equality and the triple equality operator in JavaScript. In JavaScript, you can use the double equality or the triple equality operator to compare values to know if these values are equal or if they aren't. But the double equality operator strictly checks the value while it doesn't check the type, while the strict equality operator strictly checks the type and also checks the values. In this video, I'll be showing you some examples to show you how this operator works, and at the end of the video, I'll also show you some use cases where using the double equality operator can be helpful, and I'll also make you understand why using the strict equality operator is the most recommended approach for comparing values. So let's jump to my code editor as I simplify these operators for you. I'll be using these examples here to explain how these operators work. So let's start from the double equality operator. The double equality operator, which is known as the loose equality operator, applies loose comparison when comparing values. So if it wants to compare two values together, if their types are not the same, then it's going to apply type coercion, which I explained in my previous video, and type coercion converts one value from one type to fit the type of the other value it is being compared with. And after type coercion, if the values are the same, then the double equality operator would return true, but if the values are not the same, it's going to return false. And I'll explain what I mean here with this example. So here we have a string of 20, and let's say here we have a number 20. Now this is a string, this is a number. We're using the double equality operator. So what first happens is type coercion. Now one of these values would be converted from the type that it is to fit the type of the other value. The string here, for example, could be converted to a number type since it is being compared with a number type here, and the number type of this string is 20. And then now the double equality operator can then compare the values 20 and 20 together. If I run no test here, you can see this is true because 20 is equal to 20. In the second example, we have a number type and we have a Boolean type. Type coercion again is going to happen, and the number equivalent of this Boolean is 0. And then now that they are the same type, number and number, then the equality operator would check if the values are equal. So is the value 0 equal to the value 0? Let's see, if we run no test, that is true again because indeed they are equal. And let's look at the third example. We have a Boolean, we have a string. Double equality operator, these are different types. So type coercion happens, and this empty string converted to a Boolean type is false. And then it's false a value equal to false of this string. Let's see, if we run no test again, you can see that is true because false is indeed equal to false. So what the double equality operator does is that it first ensures that they are both having the same types, which involves type coercion, and then the values are checked. The types are not strictly checked, only the values are strictly checked, and that's why it's called a loose equality operator. So let's come back to this first example, and then let's say this had a number like 200. We're trying to compare these together, right? Now, are the types the same? No, the types are not the same. This is a number and this is a string. Now, the number equivalent of this string, like I showed you before, is 20, and then now the values are checked. So it's 20 equal to 200. If we run the test, you can see that is false. So the loose equality operator doesn't strictly check the type. Like I said, it only strictly checks the values being compared. Now, what about the triple equality operator? The triple equality operator, which is known as the strict equality operator, compares the type and also compares the values. If the types are not the same, it automatically returns false. It doesn't do any type coercion. The types are not the same means the values cannot be the same. If the types are the same but the values are not the same, it's also going to return false. Coming back to this example here, let me clear the console. Now if I make this a triple equals and I make this 20, you can see here the values are the same, 20 string type, 20 number type. But because we're using the strict equality operator, it says false because the types are not the same. If I try this for the second one also and I use a triple equality operator here, if you run the test, this is also false because the types are different. This is a number and this is a Boolean. And moving forward to the last example, if I use a triple equality operator here, this is a Boolean, this is a string. If I run the test, you can see this is false. So the only time that a strict equality operator is going to return true is if the value and the type are the same. So here the type is Boolean and Boolean. We run no test. This is true. If we make this true, here the types are the same, Boolean and Boolean, but the values are not the same. False and true are different. If we run no test, you can see this is false. The strict equality operator checks the type and also checks the value to ensure they are both the same before it returns true, while the loose equality operator only checks the values, and if the types are not the same, type coercion is going to happen so that it can only focus on the values. Now, when should you use a strict equality operator and when should you use a loose equality operator? It is recommended to use a strict equality operator to avoid inconsistencies that can happen when type coercion occurs. However, there are very few use cases where the double equality operator can be helpful. And one example I can give here is, let's say from an API, you are expecting a number, but then what comes from the API is a string like this. Now, if you are doing a check and you do console log, maybe somewhere in your code, you have something like 20, and let me assign this to a variable. Let me say value from API. So, and then you do 20 is equals to value from API, and this is a strict equality operator. If you run no test, you can see this is false. You are expecting 20, but 20 actually came, but in a different type. In a case like this, using a double equality operator can be helpful. So here you can see we have true. Another way you can go about it if you don't want to use a double equality operator is that here you can use the number constructor and you can pass the value from the API. And then with this value from the API in the number format, you can then compare it to 20 and you can see this will still be true because this string has been converted to a number using the number constructor. So in some cases, using the double equality operator can be helpful, but it is highly recommended to stick with the strict equality operator, as type coercion doesn't happen with that operator and you don't get to experience unexpected bugs that happen because you are comparing with the double equality operator. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Also subscribe and turn on notifications for more concepts I'll be simplifying in JavaScript.